Hi everyone, you've reached Christine with the Ask Your Angels talk show. With me this evening is Michelle Desrochers from Canada's Most Haunted and Burlington Ghost Walks. And of course we're going to be talking about ghosts and paranormal activity, and it's the perfect night for it because tonight we have a tornado warning. So lots of exciting things in store, and thank you for joining us again.
Okay, so ghost busting, you do that?
Oh, you're showing my age. Thanks a lot for that.
Probably showing my age too.
That's because my kids are watching Ghostbusters now, so.
It's one of my favorite shows. I like the cartoon the best too. But yeah, you know what? We do a lot of, spirit research. As far as busting ghosts, I don't know. I'm pretty pro ghosts, so I'm not one for trying to chase them out of their environment by any means. But I do enjoy, learning a lot about the paranormal because, we share space with an entire different, race of beings that we tend to fail to see the signs for the messages that they're leaving. Part of what I do, is trying not so much to debunk it, but it's either to prove it or disprove it. If it's there, we try to definitely figure out who they are, what they want, where they come from. If it's not there, well, you know what, it's also our job to find those logical explanations as to why things are going on in the home. And I mean, it's happening to a lot of people, and I find maybe because we are coming into a spiritual age that people are more
aware.
Open, yes, and willing to talk about it. Like back in the day, oh my God, you did not discuss it.
No, you didn't.
No, family secret, boy, you just don't go there. But now, I think with the internet and social networking and television, people aren't afraid to talk about what's going on because it's almost like it's becoming the norm.
And we have, of course, TV shows, The Medium, The Ghost Whisperer. The Ghost Whisperer always deals with, helping the ghost move into the light or go to the other side. But am I right in saying that they're here for a reason, and it's not necessarily a case of, in a way, they are on the other side already?
It's a theory. It's all theory, I suppose, until we actually get there. The Ghost Whisperer is really well done. Its producers are James M. Powell and Shar Margolis, which are two, the largest mediums out of the U.S., and some of them, from what I understand, are based on their case files as well. And Medium, of course, is based on the case files of Alison Roth. Also, exceptional medium.
Very graphic.
Yeah,
I couldn't watch
but I
the video.
suppose that's how she sees it, right? That's what I'm saying. People, you can't pick and choose what you want to see as a medium. You'll see how people died, or you'll see how people lived, if they're happy. You kind of experience all the emotions. But, the theory is, of course, spirits are here for different reasons. Some people will say, well, unfinished business, or they don't realize that they've passed on. In some cases, they're here in what's called a visitation state. They're just, they maybe love the home that they're in so much. That's where the happy memories are, and that's where they choose to come back and spend their time. And to say, well, I'm going to go in there, we're going to clear the house. No, it doesn't work that way. First of all, there's never a guarantee, and second of all, I don't feel it's my place anyway to do that. So I'm kind of like the silent observer. Absolutely.
Okay.
Just observe from afar. And I find, personally, I've had better results in doing that than coming into a location, making all these demands and trying to chase them out. And, our team has been very, very successful in gathering evidence just by being respectful.
And you had said to me before that a lot of families that do accept the ghosts, they get along really well together.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think what it is, it's that feeling of just not knowing what's there or what they want. I mean, for a spirit, in some of the cases we've done, a lot of activity starts because the spirit is just trying to get the attention of the person. If they don't realize they've passed, for example, they're not going to necessarily understand that, the homeowner cannot see or hear them.
It's like, why are you ignoring me?
Why are you sitting on my lap? Like you just set me a place at the table and said you just kind of park yourself there. It's kind of like that, once you can make the acquaintance, then things can just settle down. For example, just again, an example. I say to you, okay, you have a spirit in the house, his name is Fred. Fred gets very agitated because he comes into the room every day roughly this time, and he says good morning, and you don't acknowledge him. So please, when you come into this room in the morning, please just say good morning to Fred.
And hope that you don't accompany at the time.
Exactly. Fred, but sometimes it is just uncommon respect. And it's trying to make them understand that I can't hear you, I can't see you, you are dead. I'm not being disrespectful. I just cannot hear or see you. So again, kind of setting the boundaries on both sides. In some cases, every case is different. It has settled down the activity level, sometimes almost to a no.
So what can you tell me about this place? See if I can put this up for our viewers. Everybody see that?
Yep. One of my favorite places. So that would be Casa Loma in Toronto. It literally is the crown jewel of Toronto. And we were approached back in February of 2009 by the castle to see if we were interested in being their paranormal representatives. And we kind of went, yes. Of course. Apparently this is a haunted castle. Yes, we want it. But a lot of people have tried to get in there. So, through some mediating, we agreed to do it. We do all of their large special events there. I do all of the children's special events, like schools actually come to see me. And it's a lot of fun. I love working with the kids. And yes, we have been given the castle late at night into the wee hours to research. And we've been very successful, mostly with voice recordings, EVPs, which is electronic voice phenomenon.
That's like the movie The White Noise.
It's exactly like the movie The White Noise. In fact, when that movie was made, they actually used real voice recordings from the American the American EVP Society.
Oh, I gotta watch that movie again.
They are. Those are real
creepy
recordings.
the first time.
Yes. Yeah, they're real recordings. When that movie came out, oh God, they hit the top of the whole talk show circuit, and definitely real recordings. And those are the kind of things we've pulled out of the castle. Above and beyond anything else, it really puts out its audio. And we've had so many things happen. Even when we're doing our events, we sometimes have 100 people a night in there, and people are getting experiences, and they're getting their own voice recordings or photographs or video. They've had things happen right where we're speaking, giving the seminar, and one time I had this piece of equipment. It was called an EMS detector. And it starts going off, the little alarm is going on, it's blinking, and I'm going, what is going on? And this man looks at me and he points up and he goes, there's a shadow going right over your head. And I'm going, but it was really interesting. It was great because I'm thinking, at this point, it's only 8 o'clock in the evening and there's 100 people that's sitting here, the equipment's going off and people are going, yeah, there it is, or something and people are seeing it. So I'm thinking, well,
so it's there.
Well, yeah.
You're the one person seeing it.
Absolutely.
So it says here that, they've seen, people have said they've been shoved or pushed on the stairs that lead up to the living quarters. Some have claimed they were grabbed in the neck. Lady Pellet did die in the castle. They get weird feelings. She didn't die in the castle? Oh, so you never trust the internet.
That's my knowledge. There's only one reported death in the castle, and we've never been told Lady Pellet has passed. I think to get the most accurate information, you have to go on Castle's website itself. Mm-hmm. But there's one reported death in the castle, and it's when it was actually vacant for a while. It was totally vacant. And of course, everybody, the vagrants were living in it, and the kids were breaking into it. And I think it was an 8-year-old boy, 8 to 10-year-old boy who fell down the elevator shaft, the old elevator shaft, and died. That is
because it was an old elevator shaft.
Because the place was abandoned and they broke in and it wasn't operational indeed, yeah.
No talk about it being a haunting or anything like that.
You know what, we've had a lot of people say that they can hear the sound of children running and playing in the castle. What is strange is that the Pellets didn't have any small children. Now, they did, on the 3rd floor, Sir Henry would bring in orphans from Scotland. He would employ them. He had an agreement with the Scottish government. And he would employ them. And the girls would live on the 3rd floor as scullery maids. The boys would live in the upstairs quarters at the stables. And, they would tend to things like the gardens or the stables active of the sound, of children as well. So it's possible this young man could still be there. I mean, they're picking up sounds from something that we really don't have. We've never had anybody come right out and give us a name or say. So hard to say. And, the castle was a hotel for a spell as well, so we don't know what happened in that time.
And I have another one here. I was talking to someone today, a friend over at Art Glaze Dover, which, by the way, is great if you have kids. Great place to go. But apparently this is the most haunted building in Kincardine, Ontario. And it kind of looks a little bit like the Addams Family. I don't know if they filmed it there, but it sure looks like it. It says John Gentles, the sea captain, built Madison's. It's called the Madison House in 1858. John and his wife, Mary, lived there with their 4 children. A terrible tragedy befell their family where 3 of the 4 children perished. Legend says 2 of the children were pushed down the 3rd floor stairs by a spirit, and the 3rd, a baby, was suffocated to death. Only 1 child remained. Mary is also believed to have died after being pushed from the widow's watch that John built for her to keep a lookout for his return home from sea. John later committed suicide by hanging himself in another part of the house. Do you know any history on this? That's not a murder-suicide?
What? No. I do know the house because
I looked this up. There was tons of pictures. They all said Madison House.
Maybe there's also one in the States. Madison's in Kincardine, similar. I can send you those actual photos of it.
That's doing really well.
We filmed E.T. Canada there. We've investigated it several times. The owners, it's no longer called the Madison House. The owners sold it, I think, back in 2008 or 2009. It was an amazing place. Actually, there was an episode of Ghost Whisperer that was actually filmed there,
really?
too. Yeah.
Do you remember which one?
I don't. Sadly, I wasn't prepared. I'd have got it for you. No, the owners were really gracious to allow us the many opportunities that we had to research this house, and we became very attached to the spirit people there. It was an amazing place. I mean, haunted, super haunted, yes. I mean, and even that is putting it mildly.
Can you give us some examples? Are you allowed to?
Yes, I can give you some examples for sure. I would give you the main example is when we filmed E.T. Canada. And we're in there, it's like February, it's like freezing cold. We asked that it was winterized, so the water was shut off, there was no heat on our place, so we asked that it be left that way. And we went in 12 o'clock, all of a sudden the whole stereo system goes on, because it was a restaurant for a while. So I had to watch the owner, literally, he was kind of breaking into an area of the house that had been sealed up for the winter to get in to shut the stereo system off. And he's kind of scratching his head and going, wow, that's pretty amazing. So we did what we call a walkabout of the location, and that's just kind of where we go and get our feel of the place. And we went upstairs to the 2nd floor, and the washroom was full of water. I mean, all over the ceiling, the walls. And the owner, she starts scratching her head. She goes, honest to God, we were with you the whole time. I don't know, the water's turned off. And we're like, okay, that's cool, that's good. I mean, by this time, like maybe 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And when we started filming with E.T., the camera crew, and we were also filming a pilot show of Canada's Most Haunted there as well. So we had our cameraman going through, and we had a thermal imager that was on loan to us from FLIR. And this thing was like incredible. And we picked up, basically they were legs from the knees down, and you could see the knees, you could see the legs with the feet. And yet the ET crew was right over, just kind of like here, for example, was the imager screen, and they were looking right over so they could see the screen, and they could see there was nothing in front of it. And
That's kind of creepy.
it was different, we were kind of like, okay, that's kind of interesting. And then when we were, Pat and I got separated to do separate interviews for ET, and while I was having my interview, they were in another room where they had this big screen TV that was unplugged, and there was something was kind of crossing over the screen. And there were like 6 people in that room watching this thing cross, like through the TV, like basically it wasn't even in front of the TV, it was like in the screen almost. And it turned around and it just looked at them, and they couldn't really tell what it was. They just kind of made reference to the fact that it didn't look human. So, I come back up from my interview and everybody's telling me the story, and I'm looking at my cameraman who's dumbfounded in fear. I'm going, please tell me you got that. And he's going, no. No? I'm thinking, oh, God, I can't get good help. So,
it's so hard to find.
I was like, where am I paying per hour again? So it was really wild. And this place, it was great. And the owner did tours there. So they were really gracious. They opened the place right up to the public. And I have to say, I've filmed in many, many locations. And this is definitely one of the most active. I just spent the night there several times. And one night I woke up and something was pulling the blankets up on me. So I kind of had one eye open. And there were other people in the building who, I could hear them vacate the premises at about 4 a.m. And she ended up claiming that her bed levitated. Anyway, I kind of had one eye open and I saw the blankets coming up. And
It's when you're coming down that you have a problem.
Well, right? I don't know, because I was starting to think, okay, you're either trying to just, make sure I'm warm, and it was really warm in the house, or you're going to just try to smother me with it. So I felt much better if it was going the other way.
I'm not judging.
No, but it stopped at about chest level, so I went, okay. So yeah, it's a great place. It's a great place. It is now, and it's been sold. And she had a hard time getting that deal to close because it's like the spirits, I think selected her in the first place to buy the building. And when she sold it to this woman. I don't know, I think she was a lawyer. She never set foot in the premises after she bought it, after it finally closed. The place kind of got into disarray, and the woman ran into like major financial problems after that, so she sold the building. Now, from what I understand, I don't know because I haven't been back since, but I understand that it's apartments.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we have an address so people don't get an apartment there?
Yeah. So, well, even if I had it, I couldn't just sort it out for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a great place. It's a great place. And the owner, the owner who had it at the time, still reports that the spirits of the home have come to her new home to visit. They really, really adore this woman. I think they looked out for her. They looked out for each other. And, she still has said, my granddaughter still sees them, the little children, and they still visit, and they
So they can be friendly.
To help us. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I won't say I didn't have to share crazy things in there, but the family was wonderful.
Do you have any questions or anything, tech guy? Nothing? Anyone there? Feel free to call in if you have a question for Michelle, or if you want to share an experience that you've had that's of the paranormal nature, because that's kind of our theme for tonight. I myself I had the experience of going out on Burlington's Ghost Walk Saturday night with Michelle and a few others, and no sooner had we got to Emma's back porch, it started to rain. That's why I'm drinking tea today. So I got absolutely drenched. So unfortunately, I didn't get to see the whole tour, but what I did see was pretty fascinating. The history was great, and Patrick was our tour guide, and maybe, I don't know, would Patrick maybe want to call in and tell us a little bit about the tour?
He is indeed our tour guide, so let me just
I'm going to see if we can get Patrick to call in. I'm going to have some tea. Or maybe you can share something with us in the meantime.
Well, Burlington Ghost Walks, we are in our 10th year. So it was founded, he actually took an entire year to research the tour. People think, we just dream up things off the top of our head. Pat spent a year researching the history and the tour, talking to residents. We had a lot of people come to him with stories. In 2001, the tour got on its way. And again, we're in 2011 now. We're still going strong. We have people from all over the world who come. We are supported by the city of Burlington, which is great.
That's
because
amazing.
It is. It's great. But, we bring in huge amounts of tourism. and we bring a lot of people to the downtown core. You know, everybody goes to the malls, and there's so many great little places downtown. And we've had people come on our tour, I think even yourself, and you saw our village square and said,
I didn't even know it was there.
I didn't even know it was there.
Oh, and it's beautiful. It has a little gazebo, and it's all lit up, and there was a Persian restaurant, little courtyard.
Away
So
from
we started
everything.
Emma's back porch, and Emma was the woman who used to own the restaurant years ago. You're probably better talking about this, or is that Patrick's forte?
Yeah, well, I mean, he follows the history a lot more. I just kind of run the company. But, yeah, Emma and George Byrons did own Emma's. I mean, they were loyalists who came into the area, and they started off this little restaurant with literally a table and 4 chairs, and then it grew a couple of tables, and it ended up being, I mean, the hot spot. I mean, people like Ella Fitzgerald and Liberace would come up to the Grand Hotel and then come to Emma's, and somebody's trying to get through.
Who's trying to... Is it a spirit?
Hello, Ask Your Angels.
Hello?
Hi, Patrick?
Yes, hi.
Hi, thanks for calling in. We're just talking about Saturday night's ghost tour and was wondering if you could give us a little history. We were saying we were starting off at Emma's back porch.
Okay, that's correct, but before we just talk about Emma's back porch, we have to know what we're talking about. Basically, we've been doing Burlington Ghost Walk since 1991. This is our 10-year celebration. And the reason why we do it at Emma's back porch is because it is the longest running official heritage building in Burlington, which gives light to a lot of the history that we talk about, not just the ghosts.
Well, I thought it was really informative.
Thank you.
And you warned everyone about Emma pushing somebody down the stairs.
Well, Emma's been mostly usually a good person in life, and I don't think she's really a bad ghost. I just think she likes the way she ran things as they did in that generation. Very strict, very hard, but firm. So the curse really came to light back in 2000 and probably 6 or 2000, after, at least when we were a couple years later when we were doing the tours. And we noticed that people kept falling off one step in Burlington in the port, or the stairs in Emma's back porch, and the actual Estamini restaurant. So we looked into the history, and it was that apparently that if other people had done this in the past when she had guests. So the idea is that if Emma doesn't like you, or doesn't like your service, or doesn't like you, period, or didn't like the food, or complain, she would throw you off the steps on the 4th step, and actually have the concierge kick you out. And this happened because, for some strange paranormal reason, she was living on Martha Street when she sold the business, and she fell on the 4th step in her new place of apartment, and she fell down the stairs and broke her neck, falling off the 4th step. So I guess that's equivalent to the curse of why she's still there and running the place as she does.
And if I can intervene for a moment too, we had, just to kind of validate that story somewhat, we were told by a guest who had come on our tour that she was dining with her friend and her friend's family upstairs at Emma's. And we're going back a couple of years now. Anyway, upon leaving, her grandmother fell down the stairs, and she swore that she felt a hand on her back. Anyway, the sad thing about that was that she ended up about 4 days after she had fallen. She was taken to the hospital, and she ended up passing away from internal hemorrhaging or internal bleeding. But she stated really right to the end that she had felt that hand on her back. So, and there wasn't anyone behind them, which was kind of left everybody scratching their heads.
So we're left with the
You probably haven't been there before. You just validated what we were just talking about, and we've been doing this for several years now. So it's kind of amazing. I mean, although ghosts are there because they love the place and they're attached to the place, so it's a very Victorian kind of style for ghosts that linger on after death there.
So you took the tour into the cemetery. I missed that part. Did anyone see anything Saturday night?
Unfortunately, when I do the tours, I don't really pay attention as much because I'm talking and I'm trying to lead on the tour and follow to my next segment that I'm talking about. But in some cases, I mean, Michelle makes note of more things that people do because she's usually behind in the back. So, I mean, I'm not always aware, but I mean, when somebody does get things and they do get things or they picture or photograph things, they usually do show us later. I think some people did get some stuff. I mean, again, people always get stuff anyways. So it's like, we've seen everything from apparitions to smell, to tobacco smell, to gunpowder, to all kinds of things that would be related to somebody in that time period.
And Michelle was telling me, Patrick, that the statue that's in the square, that, was it the 4th of July? No, July 1st?
No, it was in 1 year, Pat, if you recall. It would have been in August. Do you remember when they were having the fireworks in the harbor? And we're probably about a week shy of when Alfred himself, his death had happened. And then there was that red liquid coming down the statue in front of everybody at the tour. Do you remember that?
It was like they must have did the craft show or something going on.
Yeah.
They usually have tents down by the lake. Yeah, we definitely have seen that, and I've seen that on different occasions too. Right before the anniversary of Alfred's death on the 16th of August of every year.
And just to let our listeners know, Alfred he died in the war. Was it the first?
Second World War in Dieppe. He's actually buried in Dieppe. And the statue that sits beside City Hall right now used to be down by the lake, very close to where the old Aylmer's canning factory was located, which is where Alfred worked. So chances are he probably went back to his old stomping grounds and ended up, associating with the statue. And eventually it was moved to City Hall, where it is now. And it often gives you the illusion that it moves. Like,
I've heard that.
Yeah, I think what it is that, some people have sworn, it actually does move. It is made of bronze. Doesn't move 100%. Well, photographs have been captured of it where, it looks like it's in a little bit of a different position. But on an average, I think spirits can give you the illusion of what they want you to see. The illusion of movement. There's so many cases of that happening that I think that's probably more in reality what's going on with it. Pat might have his own opinion on that.
Well, I mean, again, the most famous photo, I guess, that I've got was in November 2002 or 2004. And you can literally, the camera was on a tripod shooting every 30 seconds. You can literally see the hands coming off the rifle, but nothing else is moving on the picture. And it's on our website. So it's quite fantastic that not only did I capture, but many else people have caught it in different times and different places on the tour, and media has caught it at various points too.
And Patrick, would you mind sharing your website with our viewers in case they want to go over there and have a look?
It's BurlingtonGhostWalks.ca, and we pride ourselves in the fact that we are a family site for one, which most ghost people are not. Most ghost people stay to tend to themselves, and most ghost groups really don't like promoting what they have to everybody else. So we share everything pretty well, and we like to have people experience things when we're on the tour. So fairly detailed website, but we've been running it now 10 years, and we always have a lot of good comments, and anybody has some great ideas, we're open to options to put things on.
Yeah, and we definitely, like I say, we're very family friendly, and we never put case files and personal information. We often get asked, why are there never any case files on your website? Well, because confidentialities are important to us. I wouldn't want to read about myself on a website. Oh, and I have, nobody names names, but I would not want to see that.
I'm going to have to remove that tomorrow. I'm so embarrassed.
But, you know what I mean? The thing is that we don't put anyone's personal information on there. There's not a lot of information about our tours anymore because we used to, and there were, a couple of private residences where people were excited to be on the tour until, people started showing up in the yards at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, playing paparazzi in their bedroom windows. So, we were basically approached by the city and said, what can we do about this? So that is why, because it's a question we're often asked, that is why you're not going to see a lot of information as per our tour sites, as per any of our private locations, unless it's a location that wants to be promoted for business. You're not going to see it on the site.
That's understandable. It's no different than when you have a client who comes for a reading. It's very confidential.
It is.
You don't share that. I mean, you can share scenarios and things, but you don't get into details.
Where some researchers go wrong is they look at evidence as number one. We're opposite. We look at client first, location second, evidence third.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
So if you have a ghost in your house, you need to call Michelle and Patrick.
Yes, and we'll definitely try to work you in there.
Patrick, thanks so much for calling us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. And of course, Michelle can always give you more information and all the details she has to share, because she's the one that is the recipient of all the stuff in the back of the line when I'm talking, and she usually hears the rest and she picks up a lot of the stuff. So either way, it works out really good, and I thank you very much for having me tonight on your show.
Okay, thanks so much, and we'll see you at the one of the next ghost walks on a Saturday night.
Will do, thank you.
Great.
Okay.
Bye.
All right, bye, thanks.
Check that. So, do you have any stories you want to share before we move on to maybe talking about angels and how it all ties in?
No, let's go on to the angels, one of my favorite topics.
Okay, so one of the questions I had for you the other day was, because I'm a firm believer in guardian angels, spirit guides, that your loved ones come and help you out periodically. How do these ghosts end up kind of trapped between worlds if they have guides that are there to basically guide them?
Again, it's one of those questions, like if you want a real answer to,
Wait
till I get there, I'll come back and try to give you the answer. Everything in the meantime is simply fairy. We can only theorize, what it's all about, and then we tend to go on our own belief system depending on, if we actually grew up with a certain religious denomination, because again, studying different religions, they all have their own theories as to what happens. I can tell you, when I was in Lilydale, I went and saw a woman named Bonnie White, and Bonnie does readings, but she does spirit art, so she paints who she sees. And I had two beautiful angels come up, and she started telling me things about myself that I did when these angels came around me. I'm thinking, okay, anybody could take a guess and paint something as the guardian angel. I kind of didn't say much about it when it first appeared on canvas, but she says, this angel appears when you do, and she gave me a series of things. I'm thinking, I do that.
We're gonna have to hear what it is to really comprehend what you're talking about.
Yeah. maybe not. But regardless, I kind of put that together. I went, okay, well now that makes sense, because she's pretty well taken. And she ended up, I know I have several guides, because, I've had readings done, and of course I know that I have a certain amount of guides, and I know who they are, and I knew one of my guides ended up on canvas as well. So I know the angels are there. Even though in my heart of hearts I know it, it was kind of nice
to see them.
To see that they came through, they were there, she drew them, I knew about them. Along with loved ones. So I've always been a big believer in angels, and I do work in a lot of malevolent situations, and I always call upon like 4 of the arcs, and in my heart of heart I know they're there, and I've had many angelic experiences.
You want to share any?
Sure, yeah, sure.
Okay.
I think one of the first experiences I had that where I was aware, because I always talk to my angels like all the time. And when my son was really little, actually my sons, because they're 9.5 months apart, but when they were really small, one night I could kind of hear something on the baby monitor. It was just kind of muffled. restful, you know. But I'm half asleep, and you know, because when you're a mom, you know, your babies are small, you don't really get much opportunity for sleep. And all of a sudden, something came through really loud and said, "Michelle," just like a whisper in my ear, and I was like,
So it's not like you're picking up on the neighbor's conversation.
No.
That can happen. This was actually your name.
this was my name, and it startled me, but I woke up and I really listened to what was on the monitor, and I went into the baby's room, and I mean, he couldn't have hurt himself. You know, he had the blanket wrapped around his head. He was kind of struggling a little bit. But I mean, baby blankets, of course, are made so that they can't. You know what I mean? Like you can breathe through them. But I think he was just panicking. So, but that was kind of, I'm like, wow, okay, you know. So I consoled and picked him up, and probably about a couple months after that, my other son was walking, and for some reason he sleptwalked. That's what we found out, he would sleepwalk. So I actually got something to sit me up in bed. And again, I'm assuming my angels, because I talk to them all the time, because I'm going to guide a loved one, but I'm going to assume my angels. And sat me up in bed. And I mean, I woke up, I looked at my husband, of course, because, you know, I was ready to hit him with a pillow. And I realized it wasn't him. And then I looked and I focused, and I could see this little patch of blonde hair walking towards the stairs in the dark. So then I was able to go and get him just before he tumbled down the stairs. So needless to say, when we found out he did that, we put a gate across the door. But I'm thinking, my goodness, like, somebody's definitely...
How old was he?
He was, 18 months.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so he was just, you know...
I wonder how many children that are that age sleepwalk, because my son did the same thing.
It's a scary thing.
It is.
I mean...
Like, what's going on in their minds at that age that they would be sleepwalking?
I don't know.
Me, I could sleepwalk. I have lots of reasons to
I think I
sleepwalk.
sleepwalk every day. I got very coma most days, I think.
Now they just, you know, pretend to sleepwalk. Oh, I didn't know I was going in the fridge, Mommy.
Oh, yeah, or, you know, using a bathroom floor as the toilet because they think they're opening something up, and you're standing there going, nice.
That's not happening here.
yeah, it's great. So, you know, that kind of caught me off guard. I was like, oh.
Wow, thanks for sharing.
Yeah, there we go. It's a personal moment. Personal files. Don't say I share anything. Nobody ever got that story at anybody's show.
Well, here's the question. When you were in Lilydale or through your experiences, what can you tell us about past lives? Because my son was about, we had just moved here, he was about 4, and we were driving along, and he said, he was in the back, and he goes, I miss my mommy. And I said, I'm right here. He goes, no, my other mommy, 4 years old. So I listen for things like that. I think, you know, when they're young, they're innocent, they're more open, and they remember things.
You know what? Again, I kind of got my own personal experiences, but I'm a big believer in past lives. You know, again, there's a lot of theory involving it, like the deja vu. Like, you know, they say, well, yeah, you were probably there in a past life. Or maybe we do out-of-body experiences when we sleep. We're said to leave the body every time we go into sleep. We go home, and then we come back to the classroom being life every day. You know, again, theory. But for myself, I have a good friend who reads me fairly regularly. His name is Christopher Moon. I always get asked, who do you go to, you know? So far, so I met you, of course. Christopher has read me. He does it with the Ghost Box, and he's also a medium. But he has been so accurate in his readings. And when I went to Lilydale, and I mean, I have had a couple of past life things come through. Actually, I'll say probably more like a handful of things come through about past lives that I've had. But when I went to Lilydale, I had never met Bonnie. You know, it's easy to be biased, you know, with the friend. I tend to second guess myself, even though, I mean, his accuracy rating is like phenomenal, at least for me. But when I went to see Bonnie, and she's reading me and drawing this stuff, it got validated because it ended up on canvas. So I kind of went, wow, that is really impressive. So for me, the past life things, you know, I'd had memories of certain things happening, and when it started coming to the readings and then it came through with another medium, and then, you know, I thought it was, for me, that was some kind of evidence. I mean, you can't say 100% again until we get there.
Well, I believe it. I think I was telling you when I was in grade 10, we were at the Black Creek Pioneer Village, and I walked into this house, and all the hairs on my arms stood up. I had goosebumps, and I felt I've been here before. I've been in this house. And then it didn't look that old, and I thought, they've just built this building as a tourist thing, and I'm losing my mind kind of thing, and I brushed it off. But then you told me, no, it's a very haunted area, and I actually went online, and I looked for the picture. That's the great thing about the internet now. You can do stuff you couldn't do back then, and it's called the Doctor's House. And, it was built in the 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
So I could have been there.
You could have been, absolutely. And we get a lot of stories, and people have sent us photographs from that location. And a couple of the photographs that we got were pretty amazing, So, definitely. It's very hard. I think a lot of people, it's okay to be skeptical. Good, healthy skepticism is a good thing. But also remember, never be arrogant enough to think that nothing goes beyond what you can't see, or what you see here. Many people have what's called like tunnel vision. They can't see past here. Realistically, get your peripheral vision going and open your mind to at least the possibility. Mm-hmm. You don't have to say, yes, for sure, this is the way it is, it's your way, or no, it's my way. Open your mind to at least acknowledge the possibility that all things are possible. I mean, look at where we were 100 years ago, look at where we are now. Would you have imagined then that the world would be where it's at right now, even as far as technology goes? I mean, anything is possible.
It's true. I think it was Franco who was here last week, was saying that some people still believe the world is flat. Can you imagine?
Well, no, but, maybe some people don't get out much. They don't have current television or satellite phones, or I don't know, but to each his own, right?
So you mentioned the voice box.
Mm-hmm.
Can you let our viewers know what that is?
The voice box, aka Telephone to the Dead, was a design that was done by Thomas Edison, and he built a device to communicate with his mother who had passed. So of course, it was never built, and when he died, the plans kind of went to the wayside.
Because he was really wrapped up with his mom, wasn't he?
Oh yeah.
I saw there was a movie, and he was just so close to his mom, absolutely devastated.
Well, this was
like Harry Houdini was with his mother as well.
And Harry went to Lilydale to try to debunk them, and he couldn't.
Oh, is that why? I read that when he went, he ended up being an enemy of the spiritualists, that whenever he went to Lilydale, they would lock all their doors, all the mediums.
Yeah.
I didn't say why, so that's why.
He would always try to debunk something.
What? Because they couldn't put him in touch with his mom?
You know what? I had no idea.
He was obsessed with that.
He was very obsessed with it. And as was Abe Lincoln. I mean, he used to go there all the time as well to participate in spirit communication, apparently. But the Ghost Box came into be by a gentleman named Frank Sutton, who was a shortwave radio operator, just a hobbyist. And, he was this quiet guy who just lives on his own, likes to be left alone, and kind of like a redneck type of character, and this was his hobby. And all of a sudden his voice kept coming through the box telling him to build a box. So for 2 years he literally tried to ignore them. So finally he just said,
you can't ignore the voices.
You can't. And he built the box. And, he didn't live too far from Chris. Chris actually is the owner of Haunted Times magazine as well, out of Denver. So he built the box, brought it to Chris, and even Chris looked at it and went, great, shelved it for a while, until he used it. One time he saw it, and he had an investigation coming up, and he goes, what the heck, what have I got to lose? I'm just going to throw this thing out there. And bang, they did not work. And that started like the whole Ghost Box revolution. I had one made for me because Chris did not market the original one at all, and I had one made, I mean, really high tech for what it is, and I mean, very, very successful communication. And it's funny because when, you know, Chris and I are doing a reading, I mean, my grandfather comes to me and goes, well, you know, thanks for calling. Okay.
So it's
no
just,
problem.
It just kind of sits there and you just talk into it, or how does it work?
No, nothing like that. You know, it basically works on a AM or nowadays even FM radio frequency. It's like they ride the waves basically. And I mean, when Chris and I only did one person-to-person reading together when we were both doing a seminar here in Southern Ontario a couple of years ago, I guess. And actually, no, last year, yeah. Anyway, the last two have been over Skype. So it's not like he could see what I'm doing. So I had made out a list for my second week. I mean, I had like pages of it. And my grandfather comes through and he goes, oh, I see you've got a list. And I'm sitting there going, really? How do you know? So Chris started to laugh and he goes, oh, you got a list? I says, yeah, apparently, you know. So anyway, that kind of, for me, kind of went, okay, well, somebody's obviously looking at what it is I'm doing. And he was answering some of the questions on my list before I even could ask them. So I
was successful. And is it a metaphor, or is it actually a box?
It's a box.
It's
a box. It's a speaker, and yeah, it's got a whole heart, and it's like a little type of a radio sort of thing. I mean, some people can convert transistor radios. When I do a lot of our seminars, what we do is we bring a lot of our equipment, a lot of it, which, you know, a lot of people have seen on television, and we bring it so they can see that, no, this isn't just a made-for-television thing. It actually exists. I mean, some of it, do we use? No, because realistically, it's for theatrics, and I don't do things for theatrics. But it's a matter of showing you, yes, it does exist. And we show you, yes, here's your high-end version, but here's the way you can do it where it's inexpensive for the enthusiasts who want to do it.
Now, why is that not necessarily a good idea for people to do that at home?
It's a way of communication. As soon as you look to communicate with something, you know, it's not just the Ouija boards. I mean, they get a pretty bad rap, and with good reason. It's pendulums, it's, you know, people will say voice recorders, the ghost box. As soon as you offer up a method of communication, you're asking for communication.
Whether it's good or bad.
Well, anything, yeah, a lot of things sometimes do need help coming through. But it's like anything else, you know. I mean, it's always been my point of view, and again, my point of view, people, before I don't want to upset anybody, but it's like taking an unlicensed driver and putting them behind the wheel of a car. It's going to go bad, most likely. You know, it's the same thing with communication devices, or if you're doing seances or things of that nature. If you don't know what you're doing, it could end up badly. I mean, we've done cases where people have been playing with Ouija boards and doing pendulums and ended up in a haunting. So, you know, if you have a medium or a psychic on hand who can somewhat tap into what you're dealing with, then it's not necessarily that bad of a thing.
Mm-hmm. We have a question from our tech guy.
Yeah, somebody put a question through. What do you think of the K2 meter?
I personally like the K2 meter. I've seen it used. Of course, all the television shows have it. We went one step further. It's actually an EMF detector. It picks up on the electromagnetic field. This one here has little lights on it. We've used it and seen people use it to get yes or no answers from spirits. We went a step further, and I had one designed for me that's in a big steel metal box. It's got an antenna on it. And, because sometimes with the original K2s, I know they've switched up the design a bit, you had to hold down the button, right? So, you know, your own energy could have been affecting it. We wanted something that we didn't even touch. We just took it, sat it down in the corner, and that it would still pick up without interference. So, like anything with EMF detectors, there's still a lot of controversy when it comes to EMFs, but definitely the K2 meter, it's a nice, simple choice, and there have been a lot of researchers that we're affiliated with who had great results with it.
Any other questions from our gallery? I'm surprised we haven't gotten any calls with ghost stories. I mean, I'm sure there's people out there who've had experiences We would love to hear from you. The number is at the top of the screen, is it not? Oh, tech guy?
Yes, it is.
Would you like to read it out for people who maybe aren't wearing their glasses? Vision impaired.
Phone number 855-276-1717, extension 4.
And it's toll free. We'd love to hear from you. So what else is new?
Oh, gee, well, we've got, of course, we're starting to book up for October already.
For the Ghost Walk?
The Ghost Walks, and we book up pretty fast. We've got private tours starting to book up as well for October. We're going to be at the Burlington Public Library. I believe it's the 24th. So you have to register with them for that. And then on the 25th and the 26th of October, we are already booked up at Casa Loma, and tickets are already selling fast.
Casa Loma. Is that a Halloween event?
It's going to be a Halloween event where they do open up a little bit more of the stables, and it's a great place anytime. I mean, to me, I keep begging for like an office in the place, in the stables. I don't even want it in the castle. So it's a great place.
With your very own stable boy.
Maybe.
At the front.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, the spirit one, I think, is like to follow us around quite a bit. But yeah, it's a great place. It's a great place. So we've got that coming up along with, like I said, a lot of private tours. Our Burlington Ghost Walks, those tickets will probably be going on sale beginning of September because we sell those up pretty quick too. So it's all happening. Any film, radio, it's all,
Wow, you're a busy girl.
Yeah. It's my life. It's like that pretty regularly for me, but that's okay.
So, did you want to share any stories with us? Maybe now, I don't know if you can talk about people's homes you've been in, scenarios where you've gone in, they've had a ghost or a haunting. Is it something you can talk about? Because I know the confidentiality thing. If you can't, that's okay.
I do have permission from a couple of my clients where I can discuss it. Obviously, I don't mention names and 100% circumstances. But to educate people, I can give you two different stories. One was, again, of an alleged, demonic haunting that happened in Georgetown.
Ontario?
Mm-hmm.
I grew up there.
Oh, did you really?
I did.
So did our empath, Brian.
Really?
Active little town, yeah.
It's a great little town.
Yeah. Well,
And there were haunted houses there for sure.
that's what he says, yeah. And this is a new area, like it was a new subdivision, but she had tried to contact her mom using a pendulum. Remember how we talked about looking for communication?
Mm-hmm.
And she ended up in a pretty bad way. I mean, this woman used to work out like literally every day. She was in really good shape and ended up, she was chain smoking, not eating, we wouldn't let her sleep. And she dropped down to, I think, under 100 pounds. Anyway, she, like this, we're talking a matter of like maybe a couple of months, and she was down like probably about 25, 30 pounds.
So were you able to
Yeah,
clear the house?
Well, how it works, we try to, again, depending on your denomination, being Catholic, we hooked her up with her parish, got her more involved with her parish, and the priest would do regular blessings. Because the Catholic Church, I mean, they got it together for sure when it comes to this sort of thing, but they require a lot of evidence. And we did. We wanted to make sure she went through psychiatric assessments. The family was ahead of us on that. She went with two different people just to be sure. And they worked with us, actually. The psychiatrist said, yeah, go ahead. You can do this with me. Just, stay on your medication and keep, work together, which we did. And it's with the help of her church and her doctors and, with us, handling her spiritual needs in that respect. She ended up, we teach people how to fight back. Mm-hmm. So you're not a victim. There are no quick fixes. And we basically teach people that, you're only a victim if you allow yourself to be a victim. And boy, when she decided to fight back, she got back. And she's doing great. Last we heard, she was doing great. So that was...
Oh, yes, and I should mention, if
This is how it
excuse me,
goes out.
if for any reason the power goes out or you lose us, there is a tornado warning. It's overhead, so we're very dedicated to be here tonight. We have no idea what's going on outside, so if the roof comes down and the show ends, I'm sorry, but what are you going to do? So that's a great story. I actually remember years ago, I was in like grade 10, and we're just looking at the telecast here, and it's not
Tech guy's trying to scare us.
Yeah, lightning, and paint all over the place, and doesn't look good. So
that doesn't look good at all.
we probably will be signing off pretty soon. Where was I? I babysat at this house on, I believe it was Maple Avenue in Georgetown, and it was a really old-looking house. But I tell you, it had like the creaky little stairs and all the little portraits going up the stairs. I swear that place was haunted. I was terrified babysitting there. I never went back.
Well, yeah. Sometimes, just with skeptics out there, our mind does tend to play tricks on us when we're in situations. The dark automatically, and old houses automatically make you feel. That's where you have to rely on your own abilities, which, like myself, you've been able to, channel in on from the time you were young. So if you say, yes, I felt it, chances are you probably did. With nowadays with media, and because I work with so many children, I like to always make a point of saying, just because it looked like it might, and if it feels like it's dark and it's an old crooked place, doesn't mean that it is. So don't go breaking into it. Because I can't tell you how many people, even adults, like, it happened in the University of Toronto, was it last year, and these are two adults who went in looking for ghosts. And don't they end up on the roof or something of the Toronto University, and she went over. So this is just one of those things where, when people see abandoned places, and not that the U of T was abandoned by any means, but there are places that are abandoned, and people look at it and go, oh, I bet you it's haunted. No,
and they do cares or pray.
Well, or they break in because they're researchers.
You ever see the movie Hell Night? That goes way back, but that was the same thing. It was a big old deserted, haunted-looking house, and we're about to lose power. You're not here with us. This is very scary. There's a lot of stuff going on outside.
Perfect for a ghost show.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I love angels. You know that. Don't want to see any tonight. So.
It's okay. Nothing like a good thunderstorm during a ghost show.
Yeah. Okay, I've lost my train of thought.
No, but people will actually break into locations, and they get themselves hurt, or they're trespassing on private property. And this is what we try to stress to people. No, be responsible. Unfortunately now, with social networking, everybody's got a ghost group. And I think it's great. I love to see enthusiasts and professionals alike communicate with one another, share ideas, reach out to one another. When I can't do a case, I reach out to a colleague, who's maybe closer to the location, or if my time doesn't allow, a colleague that I trust and say, listen, you handle it, here's a case for you. But unfortunately, there are a lot of people out there who don't, who aren't professionals, they're enthusiasts, and they're not really experienced. And, and sometimes things get worse, you know what I mean? Or they're not following the confidentiality law, and that's a pretty big law in any company, I think, or any organization. So I love to see people band together. I love to see people nurturing the interest in meeting other like-minded people. But we all have a degree of responsibility because people look to us in any field. If you're looking for somebody in the field to help you with the service, people are looking up to you. So just do the right thing.
It's like that, I told you, like Superman. With great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, I guess so.
So you had another story you wanted to share before the lights go out?
Yeah.
The lights are flickering, so I don't know if we're being visited by some of your many guides, but I have to feel like it's the weather outside. Can we get an update on the weather tech, guys?
It's all pink. I see the screen. It's not good.
Because if you could hear what I hear outside, it's like in the movies when you hear that roaring. I'm getting a little nervous over here.
We have a few people saying they can hear thunder in the background.
There You're right on
Are
that.
they saying, get out while you can?
One case here in Burlington, actually, and the family ended up being very close to me. The mom, in this case, and is now a very, very good friend. You can't help but,
Oh. Okay.
that was totally cool. Like, that did not go out. We did not lose anybody, did we?
I don't know. Are we?
We're still live.
We're still live.
Oh, look at that.
Okay. I'm getting a little scared.
Wow.
What do you think?
Well,
Michelle
I
is telling us
don't
a great story, and but just in case we get cut off again, would like to invite you to check out my website. It's www.askyourangels.ca. It's not just for readings. Of course, they're there if you'd like them, but there's a lot of great informative stuff that, all kinds of healing. There's inspirational meditation music. There's all sorts of things that you can tap into. Also wanted to let you know that after every show we do a blog. So you can go to Blogspot for Ask Your Angels Talk Show and catch up on some of our shows. We have had numerous requests for a live version or a taped version of our past shows. We are working on it, and hopefully we'll have that for you soon. Next week's show is going to be out of Collingwood. We're taking it on the road. We're going to meet with Reverend Christine. It's going to be totally awesome. We're very excited about that. And that's with the, I believe it's the Reiki Center for Healing, or I hope I got that right, but we'll clear that up next week. And anyway, so we're going to go to you to let the audience know about the Facebook pages, any websites you want to share, and then we'll go back to your story, and that way if we, get cut off.
Of course, you could find me at burlingtonghostwalks.ca. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook either under my name, Michelle DeRoche, or you can find me at Burlington Ghost Walks group page, Canada's Most Haunted fan page, or Canada's Most Haunted, the official page, or Facebook group page. So you can link all through on my page. You can find them all. I'm on MySpace as well. I'm on Skype. You name it, believe me, if you look, you'll find me. I'm everywhere. Google me.
She's everywhere. Quick question. Astral travel. I was about to ask you this when the tower went off. If I was having an out-of-body experience at night, I think I'm dreaming, I have an out-of-body experience, and I go visit somebody, do they perceive me as a ghost? Will they see me?
You know what? It's very possible. Again, let's theorize based on any research that has been done on OB's out-of-body experiences. There is a theory that when you go to sleep at night and you fall into that deep sleep, that you actually do leave the body. Sometimes they say when you have those dreams where you're falling and you come back into the body, you feel like you've fallen, it's like a big jolt.
Mm-hmm.
They say that's your spirit actually coming back into the body. Again, theory, but that's what they're saying. So I don't know. It's happened to me a few times. So I guess I travel quite a bit. But I would imagine, like,
she gets around.
Yeah.
She's also on Burlington's Best Kept Secret.
Yeah. But with that said, yes, I would imagine that when the spirit leaves the body, that you would be back into spirit form. I can't see why they wouldn't see you, especially if they see you now. But again, theory. I don't pretend to have all the answers. I'm told I'm pretty good at answering, but I like to just cover all my bases. Don't leave myself open for any, crazy people to come after me. Okay.
And they're out there.
Let's
go back to the story of the little boy.
Well, basically, we eventually had the house cleared, and the house was clear probably up until about, I would say, a few months ago, and we had to have it cleared yet again because activity was starting to come up again. But the haunting began because whatever it is that had come in had tricked the young lad, who was only 4, into thinking he was only a friend, and he wanted to go, can I come over to your house to stay with you and play for a while?
And this is why you never talk to strangers.
That's right. Right. And kids out there, don't ask anybody to come to your house unless you ask your mommy first. And that's pretty well what happened. He said, okay. And things just started going really bad after that, because the little boy did eventually tell us that, yes, I said he could come to stay. And then, the baby was being woken up throughout the entire night, every hour, but violently. She'd wake up screaming and crying every hour on the hour. Just craziness. So, I kind of got a little bit unorthodox, because a lot of times you have to start the healing process and the clearing by revoking the invitation. And it's very hard without scaring a 4-year-old.
Oh,
how do you do it?
How do you explain it?
Well, and how do you get them to revoke? When they think they have a little friend and you don't want to scare them. So I kind of used a bit of reverse psychology, and it might be a little silly, but it did get the ball rolling. So I basically just told them, in this case, that this little friend of his mommy was looking for him and needed him back home, and he had to go, and you have to tell him to leave. And please, you should never ask anybody to come and play again unless you ask your mom first. So he goes, oh, you better get out of here, go on, you can't stay here unless your mom says you can, and my mom, it was a little unorthodox, but you know what, it helped for the moment, like things settled down a touch after that, but at least the invitation was revoked, and then that got the ball rolling for everything else. So it took almost a year, but it was eventually rectified. So
that's a great story.
Yeah, it's happy endings.
I like happy endings.
Yeah.
I hope we have a happy ending.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because it's a little different tonight. I mean, so far we've talked about Reiki healing and crystal healing, and of course angels, guardian angels, and tarot readings and runes and astrology, numerology, all sorts of great things. But tonight was a little offbeat, a little different, and I thought I almost put a little CD in the background, from Halloween with the thunderstorm and the lightning and everything, and I'm thinking, well, hey, I guess I didn't need that because we certainly have it going on here.
You got the theatrics.
We do.
For sure.
So we're going to sign off so that we can go upstairs and see, what's happening outside. And I want to thank Michelle for coming in tonight. This was awesome. And
thanks for having me. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I hope you come back down the road. We'll have you back again. Maybe you'll have some new stories to share.
Yeah, I can always bring some voice recordings with me and maybe play some voice recordings for you, maybe bring some photographs, things like that. I didn't realize that you could do a show and tell here. Otherwise, I would have brought some stuff, but I wasn't sure.
She did show and tell before the camera was rolling, but we won't share that with you.
Thank you.
My little secrets. But wow, that would be awesome.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
I'm happy to do it.
September 7th, we have Terry coming from Florence Dwelling, and she's going to talk to us about regression, amongst other things. So Terry's phenomenal. I actually go to her for my readings, and I can't say enough great things about her. Very insightful. She actually went above and beyond for me. I had a friend who was in trouble. Again, her daughter was using a Ouija board without telling her and had hidden it under the bed. And that night the fire alarms went off, and the smoke detectors went off. They couldn't find anything. There was no fire that they saw. There was no smoke. But anyway, the fire department came, of course, and they looked behind this girl's bed, and it was all black around the outlet, the electrical outlet. And the fire department said had they not got there when they did, it would have hit the bed because it had a dust ruffle, and it would have gone up in flames. So she was convinced, my friend was convinced that her daughter had brought in an evil entity into the house, and actually Terry had said, you need to do an exorcism. Are you kidding me? But she took me into a back room and she showed me the entire ritual, and I was prepared to do it, but my friend's a real tough cookie, and she said, no, it's my spirit, I'll get rid of it. So then I taught her and showed her how to do it, and it's all good.
Excellent. So it worked.
It did. But just
Excellent.
to let you know, if you have a Ouija board or anything like that, anything that comes into your life that you think might be evil or have bad energy or anything and you want to get rid of it, one of the things Terry did tell me is wrap it in a dark cloth. Your best bet, take it to the nearest church. If you throw it at the side of the road, she said, there's going to be car accidents there. It's going to bring evil, basically, wherever you chuck it.
Bury it with sea salt on it as well, like wrapped up.
Yeah, and
Bury it
buried.
with sea salt. Yeah.
Okay.
That's another way that we've heard that you could dispose of it.
Perfect. Okay. So, so Terry's going to be coming on the show September 7th, and we have a lot of great things lined up, and I will definitely talk to you. Maybe, you know what? How about maybe we could, I know you're super busy around October, but a Halloween segment would be really, not on Halloween,
Well,
but
the whole
close to.
week of Halloween I'm already booked, so if you can get me that a week before, I could probably,
Okay, well,
Yeah,
the week
we do.
before maybe.
Yeah,
We'll have you on, and we'll do the whole
I'll bring
Ghost
some
box,
spooky sounds.
the spooky stuff.
I'll bring my, I'll bring some voice recordings for you guys to listen to.
I mean, tonight I brought the tornado. I can't do more than that. I'm sorry.
I don't think you can be outdone on that one.
No.
We'll
no.
give you that one.
Do we have a radar update over there? Is it still all pink? You know, pink's my favorite color, but not in this instance.
Oh, that's pretty pink.
Wow.
Yes.
Show our viewers how beautiful that is. That's where we are. All that's heading our way. It's not
Wow.
moving though.
Doesn't
that
there we
normally
go. Wow. See, that's what we're up against right there.
That's the most colorful map I've ever seen.
That is sheer craziness.
All right. So
Wow.
we're in trouble.
Yep.
Okay, but our angels are with us, and we know that we're protected because we believe in it, and it's all good. So have a great night. Thanks so much for joining us, and we hopefully will see you next week from our remote location in Collingwood, Ontario. Have a great night.
Good night.